In this talk, we will learn about the role of extinctions on biodiversity. At any point in time since life evolved, we have had different living organisms present on Earth. And we define this variety of living organisms on Earth as biodiversity. The variety of living organisms on Earth, or biodiversity, at any time depends on a number of factors. These include the environmental conditions in which these organisms live, as well as the presence of other types of life forms in the environment. All living organisms eventually die. However, extinction is a phenomenon when there are no more living members of an entire species. There are many factors that can cause extinction. These include strikes of extraterrestrial objects on Earth, like asteroids and meteorites. Extinction of species can also occur due to a lack of genetic diversity among the different members of the species. Another factor that can cause extinction is disease. Diseases to which organisms do not have immunity can wipe out an entire species. Climate change is also another factor that can cause extinction. Climate change can cause the loss of habitat as well as the lack of food, which can cause extinction. Finally, human activity like predation, introduction of invasive species, as well as pollution can cause extinction. As sad as it is, we always have species going extinct on Earth at any given time. The background extinction rate is defined as the extinction of anywhere from 0.1 to 1 species per 10,000 species per 100 years. Another way of defining the background extinction rate is stating that there is an extinction of 0.1 to 1 per million species per year. The background extinction rate can change with time as shown in the shaded area in the graph. However, there are scenarios when mass extinctions can occur. This results in a widespread and rapid decline in biodiversity on Earth. A mass extinction occurs when more than 50% of the species become extinct in a relatively short period of time. Mass extinctions happen due to unusual environmental circumstances. These can include changes in Earth's temperature, changes in the atmospheric composition of Earth, or changes in the sea level. There are other environmental circumstances that can cause mass extinctions, but these are the most common ones. The mass extinctions occur because these environmental changes are happening more faster than the time it takes for the organisms to adapt to these changes. Scientists have evidence that there have been at least 5 mass extinctions on Earth. In each of these mass extinctions, we can see that at least 75% of species went extinct. In fact, 250 million years ago, we had a mass extinction where a whopping 96% of species became extinct. These mass extinctions occurred during different time periods. The first mass extinction for which we have evidence is called as the Ordovician-Silurian extinction, and it happened 440 million years ago. The second extinction occurred 365 million years ago and is called as the Devonian extinction. The Permian-Triassic extinction occurred 250 million years ago, and this was a massive extinction event where we lost more than 90% of species. This was followed by the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event, and this occurred around 210 million years ago. The most recent extinction event is the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction event that happened 65 million years ago. This was the event where the dinosaurs became extinct. These mass extinction events occur due to a variety of reasons. And even though many species of organisms became extinct during these events, we did have organisms that were able to survive through these difficult times. The surviving organisms were able to adapt after the mass extinction. And in some cases, we ended up with more biodiversity than what was there before the mass extinction period. For example, during the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction that happened around 65 million years ago, there was a loss in biodiversity. However, when we look at how life evolved after this mass extinction, we're able to see many more different types of organisms after that mass extinction event. Mass extinctions can have a huge effect in changing the diversity of living organisms on Earth. During mass extinctions, the organisms that were dominant at that time usually become extinct. For example, during the Jurassic and Cretaceous period, dinosaurs were the dominant organisms on Earth. However, during the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction event, the dinosaurs became extinct. Once the dominant life forms become extinct, there is less competition among the surviving organisms for different resources present in the environment. The extinction event can also cause new resources and habitats to become available that allows the surviving organisms to adapt and evolve. For example, when we look at mammals, during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods where the dinosaurs were dominant, we didn't see as many mammals present. However, once the dinosaurs became extinct, we can see a huge change in the mammalian population as they started becoming more dominant. When a population of organisms evolve rapidly and diversify to form new species, who in turn evolve different adaptations to the changes in conditions that occurred, this process is called as adaptive radiation. The new species that are formed are able to adapt rapidly to the new conditions and start fulfilling different ecological roles. For example, when the dinosaurs became extinct, the mammals underwent rapid diversification, and the new species that were formed were able to adapt to the changing environment that happened after the mass extinction event and were able to occupy different ecological niches. While mass extinctions can result and drive adaptive radiation, there are other factors that can also drive adaptive radiation. For example, the formation of new traits that allow organisms to use resources in the environment that were previously inaccessible can also drive adaptive radiation. This phenomenon is called as key innovation. An example of key innovation is the evolution of wings. Once a key innovation event occurs, the organism can undergo adaptive radiation to give rise to many different species. Adaptive radiation can also occur when there is a need to minimize competition for available resources among individuals of a population. For example, the Galapagos finches all arose from an ancestral finch that ate seeds. Now, during the adaptive radiation process, many different species of finches were formed, and some of them still ate seeds. However, they were able to expand on the type of seeds that they were able to eat. On the other hand, we had other species of finches form that now started eating fruits, and others were formed that were now eating mainly insects. Thus, When adaptive radiation occurs in order to minimize the competition for available resources, this phenomenon is called as character displacement. The Earth has already gone through 5 mass extinctions that we know of, and each time it was able to recover in its biodiversity. There is a 6th mass extinction underway, and a lot of evidence shows that this is driven by human activity. Human activity is accelerating changes in habitats and climate at an unprecedented rate. How will organisms adapt and evolve once the 6th mass extinction occurs is not clear. The reason it's unclear is because for every mass extinction, there were resources available for the surviving organisms to adapt and evolve. However, human activity has reduced many of Earth's natural resources, and hence there may not be enough resources available for the organisms that survive this 6th mass extinction. Now, it is important to know that we can slow down this process by making more eco-friendly choices, but it needs to be done now. With this, we come to the end of our talk, where we learned about biodiversity and why some organisms become extinct. We also learned about mass extinctions and what happens to life after a mass extinction event. We learned about how adaptive radiation can occur after mass extinction and other factors that can promote adaptive radiation. We also learned about the 6th mass extinction event and what is driving this event.